My name is Chris Karras of Ellicott Slough National Wildlife Refuge.
Welcome to Region 8 Roundup.
At the Colusa County Art Council, a special art show was held to highlight waterfowl photography from the Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge complex. The show, entitled Photographers of the Wetlands Waterfowl Visitors, featured photos by service employees Mike Peters and Steve Emmons, along with prints by Hazel Holby, a volunteer at Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge. The show, which ran through January, was inspired and organized by Patty Tosher. Tosher is a volunteer with both the Colusa County Arts Council and the Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge, and she wanted to introduce the public to the great works of art created on wildlife refuges and inform local residents about the unique species found there. To make visitors at the exhibit feel like they were really on a wildlife refuge, waterfowl calls were played throughout the gallery, and waterfowl enthusiasts practiced their duck calls outside. People drove from as far away as Sacramento to attend the art show and talk to service staff and volunteers about the recreation and photography opportunities on refuges. At Livingston Stone National Fish Hatchery, a record number of endangered winter run Chinook salmon were released into the Sacramento River in February. The hatchery raises an average of 200,000 juvenile salmon for release every year, but due to ongoing drought conditions, the hatchery increased their salmon production to 600,000 fish this year. Lack of rainfall has reduced the amount of water in many California rivers and streams, causing higher water temperatures and an increase in salmon egg and fry mortality compared to past years. Anticipating this effect on the endangered salmon, service staff collected an increased number of adult winter run Chinook below Keswick Dam and transported the fish back to Livingston Stone National Fish Hatchery. At the hatchery, the salmon respond and the fertilized eggs became this record number of hatchery salmon. To increase the chances of the small juvenile fish making the long trip to the Pacific, service staff and their partners timed the fish release to coincide with a rainstorm in February, and the salmon were trucked to Codwell Park in Redding for release. Releasing the endangered salmon near the hatchery allows the juvenile fish to imprint on the area and hopefully return to the hatchery as adults to spawn and rear another generation of winter run Chinook salmon in coming years. At the Ventura Fish and Wildlife Office, Connecting People with Nature staff are working with Rio Vista Middle School to take proactive steps towards water conservation in a newly created schoolyard habitat project. Students kicked off their first day of planting by placing more than 200 native plants in their schoolyard. By removing grass and planting native habitat, the school is getting students outside, conserving water, and helping native species. Some of the new vegetation planted is native milkweed that will provide vital habitat for monarch butterflies. Working with schools and other conservation partners such as the Monarch Joint Venture, the service is finding ways to help monarch populations at important breeding and overwintering sites. This new habitat will provide the milkweed plants needed for monarch caterpillars and native nectar plants for butterflies to use along their migration corridor. The native habitat currently covers 7,000 square feet and is planned to extend to a total of 25,000 square feet by December of 2016 to help incorporate hands-on environmental education for current and future students. In law enforcement news, refuge law enforcement officers from around the region recently came together in Sacramento for their annual in-service training. The training included firearm and taser drills, along with an introduction to the new body cameras that will be worn by refuge law enforcement. Law enforcement officers learned how to operate their individual cameras as well as download the camera's footage to a secure server. The body cams will be worn by officers during interactions with the public as well as when officers arrive at a crime scene. The footage can be used to document crimes and in some instances may be entered as evidence in criminal and civil court cases. Along with documenting evidence, the camera footage can also be used for officer training, preventing and resolving complaints, and strengthening law enforcement transparency. These lightweight body cameras can record hours of high-definition video, helping service law enforcement keep visitors and wildlife on national wildlife refuges safe while ensuring events are captured from an officer's perspective. That's it for this edition's highlights on Region 8 Roundup. Until next time, I'm Cindy Sandoval.